Hi guys, it is Tamara. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about intergenerational curses, or what I referred to in my most recent video as a generational cycle. I want to talk a little bit today about some of the behavioral patterns that you're likely to observe in yourself. And then on Sunday, I'm going to be talking about ways to break those cycles and ways to kind of get out of that generational curse mindset that maybe you're in, ancestral or generational or family curses. They really do have a foundation in religion, but some people also believe in generational curses because of their culture, what they've been raised around, the patterns that they see over time within their families, and unresolved trauma that they are well aware of, right? We know in our families, for the most part, what our history consists of. And if we have a foundation of trauma and it tends to be generational, we sometimes regard to it, as a generational curse. So in this video, I'm going to point out some ways that we try to deal with that intergenerational trauma or that generational curse, and we just don't do the best at it. So I'm going to point out some of those things in today's video. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. For all of you who are subscribed and participating, thank you so much. And for those who are new, I encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stick around with us and become a part of our growing and validating community. The benefits for you in today's video is that I'm going to highlight a couple of practical things that some people try to do to deal with generational cycles and curses that are negative. And these are behaviors that a lot of us engage in, and we're just not aware of what we're doing. But before we get into that, let me go ahead and briefly introduce myself. My name is Tamara, and I'm an internationally certified and board certified trauma therapist, but I'm also licensed in mental health, and I specialize within my practice in seeing children, teens, and adolescents, as well as adults with childhood trauma. So I'm just going to jump right into these tips because you can actually go to the previous video and find all you need to know about generational curses in that video. And then on Sunday, I'm going to go ahead and post another video on how to kind of break that cycle. So in today's video, I'm just going to jump in with what I have on my list here for you. So the first way that we try to deal with intergenerational curses or intergenerational trauma or family curses, you can use those terms interchangeably, is escapism. Escapism is basically our, attempt to escape the painful reality that we're living in, but we're doing it in the wrong way. We're actually embracing dark and negative things to try to help us escape. And that may be drugs, that might be sex, that might be prostitution, that might be selling drugs, doing drugs, right? Gambling, stealing, robbery, burglary, right? Deceit, cheating on people, right? Having babies because you just are trying to fill that void that you need a big family, right? So we usually engage in escapism in a very negative way. There's nothing positive about escapism. We're really trying to deaden our reality. That's really what we're trying to do. All right, so that's number one. Number two is addiction. I talk about this a lot on this channel. I did some videos previously on alcoholism. I'll go ahead and post it up here for you if you want to go ahead and check that out. But I talk about the traumatic impact of growing up with or living with an alcoholic. But then I also talk about why that is traumatic. And one part part of the traumatic piece of alcoholism is that, it can be intergenerational. That's the traumatic piece of it, right? Uncle Bo with Uncle Tom and Uncle Louie and Aunt Susu all were alcoholics. And that's because it tends to be a generational thing, For the most part, we live our lives around alcohol. I personally do not drink, but I know a lot of people in my culture and in both of my cultures and a lot of people in my life who do. And some do it responsibly. Some go a little bit too far, and some are just outright alcoholics. American life is built around alcohol, and so it's something that can become a part of somebody's life, and it becomes a pattern, and then it becomes generational. And so boom, there's a generational curse there because you can't disrupt it. It's too many people in your family who rely on that thing, and that thing I'm talking about is alcohol. So addiction is another thing. And it's another way that we try to numb things. Okay. The third things, guys, is delusional beliefs. You know, we this might be a little bit hard to understand, and I think we often approach the thought of delusions as an intentional thing, that you're just refusing to hear the truth, and that's not true. Okay. Delusions are false beliefs that are held to be true, almost with a conviction, despite evidence to the contrary, right? There's evidence that this is not true, but you are not believing it. And it's because your mind is fixed, you know? If you think about your culture, let's say that you are Pacific Islander, right? Or Hawaiian. And someone is trying to convince you that you are not Hawaiian, that you are not Pacific Islander, okay? You're going to get upset because you don't want to be told something that you strongly believe is true. And you feel that you have proof because of the color of your skin, because of your hair texture, because of your beliefs, right? Because of where you grew up and where you lived. Imagine somebody coming along to tell you that that's not true. It's all a lie. That's how an individual with delusions feels. They believe that they have all the proof that they need. They don't need you to come along and tell them, no, that's not true. So delusional beliefs are sometimes used as a defense mechanism, and whether that person is aware of it or not, right? Let's say we're talking about you. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're using the delusion as a defense mechanism to block reality, because reality is either too painful or it doesn't click for you. So you're using delusions as a defense mechanism, whether you're aware of it or not. Delusions, when they get too far, they become a disorder, and they also become a medical diagnosis. Okay. The next thing, guys, is refusal to problem solve. That's another thing I have on my list here. There are some people who just refuse to problem solve no matter what, right? You're trying to be flexible with them. You're trying to be understanding with them. You're trying to be compassionate. You're trying to flex every way you think you can flex. And that person is saying, nope, I don't believe anything you're saying. And I totally disagree with you. And I'm not going to go with what you're saying, you know? So some people just refuse to problem solve. And if that's you, again, that's a defense mechanism. It's blocking reality. So individuals with a family curse or a generational curse, you know, there are certain family members who will just sit in the current place that they're at and they refuse to move. You know, they refuse to make progress. They refuse to do the right thing. They refuse to get help. It is, you know, an inability and a refusal to problem solve most of the time, unfortunately. All right. The next thing, guys, is numbing. I think we numb in a ton of ways when we don't want to come to grips with reality. One part of numbing is addiction. We're using alcohol and drugs to numb ourselves. Sexual experiences also numb, right? And some people, primarily prostitutes or individuals who prostitute themselves, they use sex or, you know, men being attracted to them as a numbing tool. It numbs them, you know, it takes them out of where they're at here and it puts them in a different zone, in a different space, okay? Gambling is another way that we try to numb ourselves, right? Another thing that I have here is food, right? We numb ourselves with food and we gain weight. We refuse to exercise. We get depressed. And extreme change. I've had many kids lately come into my office, and I'm talking like 18, 19, 20, those kind of kids. And even 10, 11, and 12 in adolescence come in and say, Miss Tamara, I totally chopped my hair off. Why? They needed an extreme change. It's a numbing experience until it sets in that, whoops, I just made myself bald. But it's a numbing experience, okay? Self-harm and suicidal ideation is another thing that we sometimes use to deal with things that we don't really want to look at. It's another numbing experience. Some adolescents say that cutting themselves, burning themselves, harming themselves is an interesting and helpful way, to numb the pain. And some believe that it really does numb them. And the way that psychotherapists and psychologists and psychiatrists explain it is endorphins. Endorphins rush to that site of injury. And it really does give you a pleasurable and numbing experience. It may not necessarily kick in cognitively, but your body is going through something when you cut and burn yourself. And for these individuals who do it, it's numbing. And last but not least, dependency. Dependency is another way that, you know, we try to deal with things that we don't want to deal with, and we try to block out that generational curse. We become dependent. I need you because I'm sick. I need you because I have a disability. I need you because I'm financially unstable. I need you because you raised me this way. It's blame, it's displacement, it's dependency. And I think I talk in this video, I think it's this video right up here where I talk about dependent personality disorder. There's some things in there too that can relate to generational curses as well. I encourage you to go check that video out as well. It was pretty popular on the channel and on YouTube. So these are things that we do, guys, to try to deal with the things that we don't want to deal with. And in this instance, for this video, generational curses, these are the things that we do to try to get around it. So let me know in the comment section below if this is something that you have experienced. I've seen it in my family, and I've seen it in many of the cases that I see every single day. Thank you so much for being with me today, guys, in this video. I encourage you to give it a thumbs up if it was helpful, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around with us. I need to go home, guys, because it's literally 9:55 p.m. Eastern time. I'm tired, so that's why I'm stuttering. But I will see you guys in the next video. I'm going to be doing a vlog, and I'm also going to be doing a come to work with me video, so stick around for that. I'll see you soon. Bye.